guys, so Stuart and myself here, they are properly using mask if you're too close. However, this is important. However, maybe you don't need to, isn't it?
Right. So if you are interviewing someone who's not in your family or who doesn't live with you, make sure that you are doing your interview safely and that you're wearing masks.
Mask. And then if you know you don't feel like that safe, you can also keep the proper distance, isn't it? Like you can put the camera a little bit behind, and then now you can just much more. It's at the 6 feet that we need, isn't it?
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna go super quick. Some important questions. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna ask Mrs. Stewart some questions and then follow up. So, hi, Mrs. Stewart. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Excellent. So, what is your full name and what do you do in United States today?
My name is Dahlia Stewart. I am a social studies teacher. I live in Natick with my family, my husband Marcus, and my two boys, Xavier
Awesome.
and Maceo.
Awesome. But you are not native from here. You got a history. You came from another country, isn't
Yes.
it? So, where did you come from, and what is the culture over there? How is it very different from the one here?
It's very different. So
Mhm.
I was born and raised in El Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know what Salvador is?
Mhm.
You should know it. It's a very tiny country in Central America. And it's very different. So in middle school, I went to a private school. Most people go to private schools in El Salvador, and you have to wear uniforms. So that was very, very different from the United States, where most kids go to public schools, and they don't have to wear uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell you, I enjoyed wearing uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
I,
And what would you say is one of the things that when you were experiencing culture here in the United States, what was one of the major clashes that you had
mm-hmm.
between the American way of life and your own culture?
Yep. So I think going back to uniforms, one of the major clashes that I encountered when I came here, and I was 14 years old when I came here, and I went straight to high school, and I had to wear different clothes every day, and I didn't have that many clothes
Mm-hmm.
because I had just arrived from El Salvador, so I didn't have that many clothes, and the kids made fun of me because I didn't have the proper clothing, and I had to have different clothes every day in order to fit in, and I didn't. So that was really hard. Going to school with boys was really hard because I had never gone to school with boys. So that was very, very different. Yeah.
And so, just to finish this interview, why do you think people should travel around the world? What are the advantages of traveling around the world?
I think when you travel, you get to experience so many different things that are different from what you know, or are unique. I shouldn't say different, but things that are unique to that particular culture or that particular country. And knowing that there's so many different ways of doing things, of experiencing things, really broadens your perspective on what culture is, right? Culture is not just what I'm bringing to what I'm experiencing, but culture is also what people do in other parts of the
Right.
world, right?
Could you give one simple, quick example of that? You mentioned that there are many ways that you increase your personal culture. Can you give one example?
Okay, so I think a simple one could be, let's say, food, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to China, I noticed that on the buffet, there were options like boiled beetles
Mm-hmm.
or sea cucumbers,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, my first reaction was, oh,
Mm-hmm.
not something I had in mind that
Mm-hmm.
people would want to eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, well, let me find out why is it that it's an option, and why is it that a lot of people in here, like it, right? So I went ahead and tried it, even though it was
Yeah.
It was definitely out of my comfort, but I went ahead and tried the boiled beetles. Um, and I have to tell you that they don't taste bad.
Good, good.
They're actually very nutmeggy like.
That's awesome.
It was too crunchy for my taste.
That's great, and I think that by doing that, it's cool because she showed respect to the people, and she showed that she actually was open to try new things. But this is the way, guys, that you interact. Do you realize three important things quickly? Is that we were talking to each other, facing each other. You can face the camera too, but also follow up on questions, be polite, and then always say thank you at the end. Thank you so much to your interviewer. Okay? Great. Thank you.